move on to the next game against OXG. Here on the B stream it will be, so if you want to know what happens with Wolves, you better stick with us for the next couple of hours.
And the thing is, coming into the competition, Wolves, w7m, both #1 rated from their regions, this would look like a semi-final game. If you said to me, without knowing what the group draw was, oh, there's a game where Wolves and w7m play each other, I'd be like, okay, is that a quarter or a semi-final? Because it feels like a playoff-level game. It is best of one. A best of 3 between these two teams would be absolutely phenomenal, but regardless of what happens, you will not see the matchup in the quarterfinals based on how the draw system works. So maybe we have to wait for a semi to see that one, Tim, and I, for one, could not wait to see it. However, this is just that best of one, first of all, on Chalet, Capital, and Nomad, the 2 bans that we've seen coming through. And you know what I'll do, Tim? I'll be a good little caster and go and look at what the bans were for yesterday as well.
Go and have a look. I mean, we've got slightly less regular bans there, not unheard of. Capito particularly, I mean, we know he brings an absolute ton of utility, 3-speed, all sorts of good things from Capito, but doesn't see the ban too often. It does leave Finker available. Wamai and Azami will be our final 2. Azami, no surprise. Wamai interesting because it will impact how the defenders are holding on to those sites. It's going to make Jaeger probably pretty much 100% pick now because they're going to need him in there to deal with those throwables. You could argue that Aruni's laser gates do a similar job dealing with some throwable utility, but they just don't do it anywhere near as efficiently as those Jaeger ADSs. So going to be plenty of Jaeger. Wamai out of the question, but it might mean that we just see a little bit more utility play from the attackers.
Some similar bans, but also some different ones in here as well. Both teams changing up one of their bans. Yesterday, Wolves banned away Valkyrie. That's been left open. They're playing with the Wamai taken off the board. It says to me they really want to lean into range utility like the Zofia that we've seen have a really good presence throughout the major. Lots of thrown nades, for example. On the other side, w7m, they banned away Sledge. That was taken off the board yesterday, and definitely what feels like a target ban against Rise, who started on his 0-12 game in Playday 1 of EUL Stage 2, and then from that point on became an absolute force playing things like that Sledge. So definitely a target ban. And the Capital for me, I won't lie, didn't see yesterday's game, was casting at the time. May well have been that Wolves did play some Capital in that matchup.
Round number 1 underway then, and it's time for Wolves to get themselves a good start. They're on the attack of Chalet, which should play into their favour somewhat. They're going to be attacking onto Dining and Kitchen to begin with, and I will no doubt expect a top floor clearance from them to start things off. We've got a couple stacking over, ready to go up onto that piano balcony. Mowgli just going to recover his drone there as well for later use. 7 still in play, plus Twitch drones, so things not looking too bad for Wolves in terms of the intel. We can have Bibu sending in those Twitch drones as well. Just going to spot out the Frostmat. That should give them all the information they need so that they're not going and getting the legs trapped. And as expected, up towards the top floor they go.
They'll see 4 went off then as well. I'm not quite sure what it was JV was hoping to find, but nothing is the answer. I'm seeing this lineup here where Shinka's ready. That juice comes through. That's going to the count for the rest of the team. You've seen the EE1D go off. You've seen the window get smashed out. Shinka's in for 1 swing as well. Elsewhere, there are still gunfights taking place. And w7m win out in 3 of those, shutting the Wolves down quite comfortably before P4 gives a little bit of balance. They're inside of sight at this point, Tim, but they don't really have any control.
No, none at all. It was a nice opener from Shinka. Just a swing on the rappel. Never an easy kill to find. KZ's going to find 1. Does he get the second onto the window? He knows that he's there. He certainly does. Put in that frost gun to great use. KZ from the trophy stairs manages to close out the round. w7m, they will not be beaten by Shock and O.
And this was part of the worry for me when Wolves coming up against a team like w7m would be that you are coming up against a team that is very happy to play hyper-aggressive out and about around the map and make you challenge for every single spot of land that you want to walk into. And I think you saw it there very early on. We had Wolves pulling off this all-in-one execute. Shinka breaking out the window to cut off down towards Piano. You had the EE1D going off. 3 players of Wolves all pushing in. We've seen these coordinated attacks by these guys just run over so many teams in EUL. But you're not against one of the EUL teams in the lower half of the table anymore. You're against the best coming out of LATAM at the moment, given the last 2 stages and the records that they currently hold. So for w7m to shut that one down, absolutely not surprised. And this is where the depth of teams like Wolves will really get tested.
Right, so as we promised, we will keep you up to date with things, you know, how this game impacts the nets for Wolves. They've gone 1-0 down now. The reason that I bring this up...
You know, it sounds great when you're saying that.
What sounds great when I say?
Wolves go 1-0 down. I just feel like I'm watching the football. I was thinking about it just a second ago.
Des is a big fan of Wolves as rival, basically, in the Premier League. So
based in the middle of the country in the UK, we have clubs like Wolverhampton Wanderers, West Bromwich Albion, Birmingham City, and Aston Villa.
Hurts you to say the names, doesn't it?
The thing is, all three of them are like obsessed with being rivals of Villa, and we just don't care.
It sounds a little bit like you care, Des. You've just brought it up a minute ago.
I just don't care, because they're all small teams. No one cares. But Wolves, we were having a big debate with the talent team about whether you say Wolves or the Wolves. Because it's a very common thing in America, like American football, to say the Eagles, the Panthers.
I kind of ended this on the basis that Wolves is a shortened version of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yeah. The Wolf has just been brought in as a mascot. Opening kill, going to go to w7m. That's 2. Herds and JV going to get themselves, but Bibu Rise managed to get the trades, and that is going to be 3 versus 3 inside the first minute. So we're seeing a lot of early round aggression coming out from Wolves here. They are quick moving. They're not messing about. GDN and KZ, they're left inside a site. Volps underneath. We saw the damage that Volps can do on the flank previously, so they need to make sure that they're keeping a track on exactly where he is. 8 drones, so there's no reason for Wolves to be getting caught out here.
You're looking towards Captain Bibu really playing on the Blackbird here to do some damage as well. Those shields over the face prevents a headshot going through. Normally a couple of shots coming your way, to be honest, so you should have the massive advantage in a number of these gunfights. At the minute, no one looking to swing out onto him. w7m just happy to pause momentarily whilst Wolves refigure out exactly what it is they want to do. Sure, they found a couple of kills, but they also lost their 2 entries in the process. So now you're looking more towards those backline players to step up strong.
Selma charge going to be thrown in there. I'm assuming that it got burnt out by the electricity, given that that wall is electrified. But that's not anything new, so I'm not really sure why that was thrown across. Maybe there was, you know, a plan that wasn't going to be electrified by the time it got there. I'm not 100% sure. But there we go. That's a Selma down. 1 remaining on the side of Shinka, so they need to be careful if they want to get that used somewhere. BB looking to push in behind the face shield of Blackbeard. He's thinking about getting onto office door here, which is going to be pressure for Volps. At the minute, he's playing in towards... He needs to recollect this diffuser. He's playing in towards the half wall at the minute. So potentially just going to be looking for a tight angle around that corner. He does tuck himself back. That's very clever from Volps there. Just keeping himself out of danger, recognising where the pressure is likely to come from.
The real danger here is the team's so split from Wolves as well. They put all their resources into Solar Side, and Rise being chunked through by the looks of it by the smoke canisters down to half. KZ finds 1, and there's the last 2 coming through. An easy close out for w7m. But back to that last conversation, Tim. Wolverhampton Wanderers.
So my point about Wolverhampton Wanderers, it was named as a shortening of Wolverhampton down to Wolves, and then obviously the Wolf came along as the mascot. That makes perfect sense. But you wouldn't say the Wolverhampton, because obviously it's a shortening of that. So that's my argument where it comes in. But I know that the org don't mind. They're quite happy to be referred to as the Wolves or Wolves.
As long as people are talking about it.
As long as people are talking about it and supporting them, they are quite happy.
All I'm saying is their name is obviously having a full-on conversation about Wolves right now on this broadcast. So I'd say the conundrum of the Wolves or Wolves is actually
just in the esports world, I think we're a bit more used to it. It's a bit more familiar that teams are named after, you know, animals, or named after predators, or, you know, all those sorts of things. So it's not unusual, but I think, you know, they do refer to themselves as the Wolf Pack and these sorts of things. So, you know, maybe we've got a little bit of a transition.
Let's stop that right now. You are officially Wolf Pack, and that's it.
You don't like the. You can't have the.
It's like Tim, just drop the from everything you say, and it's fine.
So anyway, back to the very first point that I was making,
Tim,
which was...
You've got to drop the.
Back to very first point that I was making, which is that Wolves need to be getting rounds on the attack. This is Chalet.
You said the then as well.
Oh, I can't do it.
Rounds on the attack.
I can't do it.
Get rounds on attack.
This is Chalet, where you are expecting attackers to get as many rounds as they can, because defence is difficult, as is dropping the word there. So Wolves are looking for the rounds here in the first half. They haven't got any yet in the first 2 days. You know, if they were to lose this 7-2, it means that they need 4 rounds against OXG, and that might not be an easy thing to do when the pressure's on. So this first half is doubly important for Wolves, because it might be very tough for them to get rounds on defence against w7m.
Again, referencing the game yesterday, 5-1 w7m had in their defensive half against Wolves. They couldn't really win around for love nor money on the attacking side, which is weird to say, because Chalet especially is considered to be an attacker-leaning map. Getting a 3-3 split is pretty good for the attacker. Sometimes you're looking towards a 4-2, and teams hate defending on it. But w7m seem to break that rule and say, you know what, no issue on our side at all. They've got the scan onto the player in the back of library here, so they know that there is someone dug in deep, but they've got to force him out. Normally nades from the south window are the way to go. There are several nades coming in here, and they've let JV get away. What an absolute steal.
That's it, JV burning nearly half of the round in the corner of library, and the problem persists for Wolves because Herds is still on mezzanine, KZ is still out potentially by library stairs. He's pushed up a little bit towards piano door, but still the point remains they've got 2 out of 3 pieces yet to deal with on this library clearance before they can think about getting themselves inside. Herds is going to drop away after being full white flash. That leaves KZ to try and hold on to this top floor now. This should be easy for Wolves to deal with. They need to recognise that, push him, kill him, and then they can start working towards side.
I was going to say the damage that KZ can do here on the top floor, though, if he's left ignored and Wolves wrongly assume everyone has dropped down towards the site, he can cause a real headache. Looking to move his way forwards in towards library here. There are drones going forwards, but I'm not convinced any have seen him yet. Now they know that he's there because he shot out the drone, and the question will be, how do Wolves react? Do they commit resources to chase him down, or do they go for the fight? He's in a spot to be able to drop away here. Sees one, but misses some critical shots. Charges away. I keep on speaking it like a jet dash, and it's not quite fast enough. Mowgli chases him down, and that's 1 kill coming back for Wolves, but they've only got 30 seconds left to play.
That's the big factor. 2.5 minutes wasted by KZ up there, and still not really a focus from Wolves on getting the kill onto him. Yes, the opportunity was there and they took it, but still, when they knew that he was up there, they were still going into library looking the wrong way, just as Rise does there. JV shuts him down. 4 versus 3 now. Wolves looking comfortable. Sorry, w7m looking comfortable with 10 seconds left to go. 3 versus 1, 2 versus 1 as the kills start to come in with Simbi who do this through the stage. It's unlikely that he finishes this though, as a man has run away. He's going to have to plant this diffuser. The clock is ticking. That is that, and it's Volps to finish it off. Well played, w7m.
Very, very well played indeed. And I almost got a feel for a second down the line that got dropped down. I think it was Rise when JV came down from dining side. I have zero doubt that Wolves knew there might be a player on that side of the map. I don't think I've ever seen a DAMWON Gaming defense where there isn't one.
You'd already lost it by that point.
I was just laughing the whole way through.
You said that I was buzzing and you were like, that's not a word you'd ever use.
I was like, that's not a word
you'd just lost it.
No, and I crumbled under that. Right, that's it, Des. We're back into game now, and it's time to get underway with whoever it was. Yeah, I can only get through about half a sentence before I just crack up laughing.
You see, it's not easy talking like me.
So
imagine living your entire life like that.
Honestly, I feel so bad for your missus. She must absolutely hate it. Although saying that, she speaks like you as well.
Her accent's worse than mine.
Is it?
Her accent's worse than mine.
Oh, is she a real mank bird?
No, she's not.
She's not.
So I'm originally from a town called Burnley, and
Burnley.
Stop it. I'm from a town called Burnley. And Vicky, my wife, is from a town called Blackburn. But their accent is a little bit thicker than ours. It's a little bit stronger.
Is it like the Dudley version of my accent?
They're the ones who say, instead of bus, they'll say buzz.
Oh, buzz.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Right.
Catching the buzz.
That's horrible.
And stirs instead of stairs.
Stairs. You're going up
I'm
the
going
stairs.
up the stairs. Yeah, that's my wife's accent.
That is tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, my missus is posh near Cambridge. You can imagine what that's like, me taking the mick out of her all the time. The arguments over saying castle or castle and grass, they will never end until the day I die. Anyway, thank you for sticking with us through what seemed like a really strange 5 minutes of us just talking utter crap. We're now back into game. We can focus on the outcome. w7m, as a reminder, took those first 3 rounds. Wolves called a timeout. They had a tech pause. They've had to go through that as well. They need to get some rounds on the boards, because otherwise, if they end up 7-0 here, they have to get at least
minimum
5 rounds against NIP.
OXG.
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 It's all initials.
Now. It's all initials, Des.
Honestly.
With too many initials in Siege. BDS, G2, NIP, OXG, XSET.
I loved your W7R earlier.
Yeah.
I liked that.
It's tough getting the right letters.
W7R.
It's tough getting the right letters.
Kind of piratey.
Right, W7M are indeed defending dining and kitchen. Wolves currently working towards a little bit of top floor control, but at the minute haven't been able to really dislodge or disrupt W7M up there, and that's something that Gaimin Gladiators did struggle with from time to time as well. So a lot of horizontal work coming in from Wolves at the minute, but obviously that's maybe going to be a little bit difficult come the later round when w7m are able to deny from above. So it's certainly something that they've got to have a plan for. It's not necessarily the end of the world, but Herds, I was just going to say, you can breach through main wall and you can get in and get the diffuser down so long as you've got Office. That's the key, and Herds right now is preventing any opportunity for them to do that.
I've never even thought about Herds' name, but there are so many puns you can make about him herding goats and things like that. I'll find the opportunity and I'll drop it, and it's going to be biblical, I promise. Volt's holding on the vertical angle, just daring someone to step forwards in the wrong angle here, and they'll be going down
it's
to
a beauty,
the end
is
of
that?
this carbine. What?
You can use that in your ranked game. You open up on the top floor where the rug is, open the hatch up in trophy, it goes all the way down to garage door. But I tell you what, Vops is not looking down to garage door. He's going to rip Shinka off the rappel. KZ manages to get Mowgli. Rise does clear out GDM from inside the side, but in a 4 versus 3 with 35 seconds left to go, this is going to be a big ask from Wolves, because don't forget, they still have men above here. We've still got Herds inside of Office looking for that vertical denial of any plant attempt.
The thing is, the Wolves here as well, it feels like for probably 2 minutes they haven't achieved an awful lot. They've got themselves set to say ready, set, go, and now they've said go, things have kind of crumbled, and they're trying to scramble for what they feel is the right play. The vertical angle's working against them. Herds and KZ holding the same angle together. They're herding them like sheep at this point, Tim, is what I want to say, because they look as scared of them as well. Bleating away, w7m shut them out and take it to 4-0.
Things are starting to run away from Wolves at the minute. It certainly seems like the pressure, the nerves might be playing a little bit of a factor here. They know how important it is, not necessarily to pick up a win, don't get me wrong, even 1 point here. Hence one attack and they're done. They're in the playoffs. So 5 rounds here would be absolutely massive, even if they can't get the point that they need. We're going to head back in, w7m. 2 more defensive rounds to go. We've got Volps already setting up the trophy stairs, which tells me before our wonderful observer pans down for us that we're going to be in Master and Office, which we indeed are.
Oh, yeah. Who's observing this game? Speak to me now, please. Please.
I'm not 100% sure.
Because I know Mandy...
I don't think it's Medics. I think it might be Easy.
We're about to find out. I heard noise, but I don't know. It's Mandy!
It is Mandy!
Yes!
Right!
Because I was going to say, Mandy was like, she was excited like a kid in a candy shop in the green room.
She was like, can I observe?
She was like, yeah. She wanted to observe a game. For those who don't know, Mandy used to be an observer probably 6 to 9 months ago or so, and then moved to being a caster, and then now is at a major.
And I must say, has come into Major and done a fantastic job.
She is doing a wonderful job, and she
Along with
absolutely loves
as well.
my Spy Family shirts. Therefore, she's in the Weeb Club with me, mate. Sorry. She's one of my people.
And now doing a fantastic job on the observing as well.
Exactly.
We're going to have to get Mandy playing on stage, surely. It's the only thing left for her to do.
She can be an admin, she can produce, she can do the lot. She's just that kind of superwoman. Here we are.
Mowgli in the top floor, going to be working across from Library at this point. He's on the Finker, just looking to get that main floor control. I think they're picking up on the fact that w7m are playing so heavily around the map here. How does he not get the kill, Mowgli? With the sprint kill! KZ, he's just shooting through everybody!
That's unbelievable. I mean, when Mowgli can't get his job done, just enlist w7m to help you. A little bit of miscommunication there, I think. But when you've got bullets flying at you, okay, look, you're not going to be able to communicate perfectly in that moment. It's a team kill. They get the response, and it's the Finker that's gone in exchange for the Jaeger. You'll take a trade like that every day of the week, Tim.
You expect to lose your Jaeger early on. You know, we've discussed this already. His gadget's a place and forget. He's just a gun in the map. You're looking for those entries. That's why the Jaeger will often take on the spawn peak, will often be one racing towards barricades. It's not the end of the world. There is far more value in taking that Finker off the board. That much is for sure. 4 versus 4 though, and all is not lost for Wolves. It's a good job for them that Volps did get taken out by KZ in that little interaction. But Wolves are moving pretty good here. That's the one thing I would say. 1 minute 15 to go. They're already thinking about that breach. They've managed to get 2 Selma charges to do a single detonation, but the problem that leaves them with is that there is no walkable hard breach, Des. There is no more Selmas left. They go, oh no, they have. They've got the second one off. Very lucky then. Wolves able to get into sight.
KZ there getting a little bit aggressive, I think, as well. Was Crouch walking his way towards the breach itself. forgetting there were a couple of players potentially off towards the right-hand side who did eventually bring him down. So Wolves find themselves with a numbers advantage. They haven't had that too often across many of these rounds. And then Herd shuts it down, brings things back to a 3v3. A shotgun pump from GDN. A kill coming in with a headshot from the Vector from JV. They're just decimating Wolves on their actual execute. And it's got to be so frustrating for the Wolves. Try as they might, they cannot find a round for love nor money.
This is going all wrong for the European side at the minute. W7M, they're just unstoppable right now. You know, I look towards the playoffs. I said, you know, we've got to have those questions answered about international best of threes yet. But do I honest? I'm clutching at straws at that point of what could be the weakness of this W7M side. I'll admit it myself. Do I expect them to struggle in best of threes? Absolutely not. I think they're going to go in there and show us 3 fantastic maps instead of 1 if necessary. So for me, W7M, they're just looking unstoppable at the minute. We need, you know, I feel like what we need to see is a real test for this W7M side. I want to see them lose a map. I want to see them lose a map, and I want to see how they react. You know, do we get a team that comes back even stronger? Or, as we've seen with other teams in the past, sometimes they take that loss and it just crumbles. You know, everything breaks down around them. I don't think that'll be the case, but we can't know until it's tested.
I'd imagine most teams probably want to swerve taking them to Chalet as well. They've seen them play it twice in this group stage against Wolves, and both times they've taken at least 5 defensive rounds. Could even be 6 here. They would be 11 out of 12 defensive rounds won against the Wolves.
My concern...
I said the Wolves. Oh, no.
See, they've got you.
Me up,
that's how they get you. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
These American folk getting in my head, it's not good.
The thing here as well is that W7M have played a number of maps on Chalet, which means there's other maps that they haven't played yet, Des, that they're almost certainly keeping hold of. So if this is a map they're willing to keep showing us, what are they going to do on the ones that they're covering up?
That's the scary part, right?
Terrifying.
Just imagine. Plenty more to come from them, I'm sure, as we go. However, for now, at least, Wolves are putting their focus in library. There is once again a player sat in this back corner. They struggled to crack through here a couple of times. Just found themselves being constantly challenged out. JV last time managed to drop through this hatch as Nade started to fly and kept himself alive. So, it's got to be quick and it's got to be pacey from the Wolves. I've done it again!
JV, just holding the tight. He's going to drop away. No surprise there. That's better from Wolves. It's taken them only a minute this time to clear that down. KZ's going to be taken out by Bibu. And could this be Wolves managing to find themselves another gear, managing to find themselves a path into the game? They need to start it with 1 round. Herds over the balcony. And that is the top floor clear, I think. I'm not sure if there's anybody on the top side on Master and Statuary. I don't think there is. Volps is going to take down Bibu from over that side of the map. JV just rotating underneath as well. So Wolves need to be careful here that they don't head back up and try to challenge that top floor again. It feels like something W7M would do to try and retake that vertical in the late round.
Wolves want it because they're still opening up verticals here with the Flores. Oh, if GDN had helped there, you'd see the second man coming in through the window, but no, going to miss out on that one. The thing is, Tim, look through the walls. There are 3 members of W7M holding up towards the north side here. That, to me, just screams a massive retake is on the cards. They want to flank Wolves as they start getting ready for the execute, and it feels like Wolves may have cottoned on. They've got drones going up, and not another team kill. 2 in 2 rounds is not good.
Great shot from Rise there, just taking the quick peek around the door, swinging into office, and managing to get himself another. But here comes GDM. We've seen a couple of big shotgun kills already, having to flip to the SMG as Rise takes down Volps. It leaves him in a 1v3. Surely this is the opener that Wolves need. They're going to have a spray down there. GDN managing to connect with P4, but doesn't manage to find the kill. You're always searching for the headshot with this SMG, because otherwise it can be a really tough fight to take just because of that increased recoil. Rise managed to shut him down at distance. GDN taken out. W7M beaten down in round 6, and Wolves managing to get a first round on the board.
A big cheer from Wolves at that as well, because they know, again, just how important every single round they can hold on for here is. If they get to that 7-3 scoreline, they've got to take 3 rounds against OXG, and they've done it. If things had stayed going 6-0 W7M and potentially 7-0, 5 rounds they'd require against OXG. That is just how valuable every round is they can get in this game here. Will be 1 less round they have to get in the next game generally. There's a couple of exceptions.
I was just going to say that round specifically is one of those like thresholds. That changes things. So where they needed 5 rounds against OXG before, they now need 4. Unfortunately for Wolves, the next threshold is in 2 rounds' time. So 1 more round is not enough to improve their situation. If they lose 7-2, they still need 4 rounds against OXG. So now Wolves, they are looking for a minimum of 3 rounds if they want to improve their situation. So they need 2 defences. w7m, though, we did see against Gaimin Gladiator, can be a tough nut to crack on the attack.
Just a little bit, because w7m were terrifying enough on the defensive side. You know, knocking 3 rounds out away from Gaimin, which was probably a surprise, given that, again, they've 5-1'd Wolves twice now on this map. But for Gaimin Gladiators, 3 rounds dropped to Gaimin when they were on the attacking side. So let's see how they fare on the attacking side here, whether or not they can wrap this up in 2 rounds and really make the Wolves sweat. Done it again, Tim, that's the 3rd time this game. Or if we can see the Wolves really biting their way back and getting some decent rounds on the board.
That was 4. KZ going to be taking the long shots down towards West Main Stairs there. I think he was just a little bit concerned. Maybe somebody took a peek at him. I'm not sure what happened there, but he was definitely very focused on that. He's still flicking towards it. So definitely a concern for him there. But w7m definitely stacking up towards the top floor clearance, which we would expect. Information coming in from the drones, just giving Herds the little heads up. And if he takes his shots now, he might just have a little bit of joy. Not on the further target. It's the one closer that I'm looking at. I think that's the one that's being pinged out and that Herds is watching for. If Rise tries to head into bathroom, he might find himself in trouble, but given the deployable shield that's in front of him, I think he's going to be playing his life for at least the next minute or so in there. We've got one inside of office as well, so right now Wolves are pretty stable on that top floor. The big thing is the gunfights are going to come and they have to win them.
I really need to see Wolves abusing that Nomad ban here as well. We spoke about the respect that w7m showed to Gaimin Gladiators on their attack in bringing along a Nomad. And we even said for the first half entirely, Gaimin Gladiators, you need to bring the Nomad. You've got to deal with these flanks coming out of w7m. But they didn't quite give them the respect they deserve, but we did see it coming back the other way. So for Wolves to ban that away is, again, a mark of respect towards w7m. But now you've got to abuse that lack of potential flank watch or anti-flank utility.
Office wall being opened up was enough to push Mowgli back out of there and further into the top floor, in towards Master, along with Rise, who's dropped back now into bathroom. Herds needs to be careful on this window because Rise is stood looking at it, but somehow Herds is able to win the fight. On the reverse angle, great headshot. Herds is looking for more, and it might just come here as the Malusi Bibu is eager for a peek, and if he does, he might just lose it. He was going through the doorway there, so didn't expose himself to that angle, but needs to be careful. Mowgli takes his opportunity to catch one, though, and there's the spray down as Bibu had relocated. Well played from Wolves.
Here we go on the set through, make it a 3rd as well. Much stronger stuff coming out the French side. 2 remaining. GDN and KZ, 1 goes down. Mowgli starting to wake up, it feels like, as well as say that, and he hits the deck. I do apologise, that's a cast of curse and a half. KZ now against 3, though. Bibu down to a slither of HP, and then he steps down, he goes, juices himself back up. Will get finished off there. Wolves get a critical 2nd round.
It is important, as I said, 3 is going to be the break point for them. That's what's going to improve the requirements that they've got against OXG, so they don't want to get too carried away just yet. They need to be getting more defences in the bag, but the fact that they've been able to shut down w7m so well, I was impressed with how they dealt with that top floor. Bibu's rotation, particularly that movement through Master to replace Riser's spot just on that doorway into bathroom, baiting Herds in there, thinking that he was clear and could come in and take that fight, but Bibu wins it out, and also the aggression from Mowgli to push back onto the breach. It's not always easy to do that, to retake lost ground. They opened the wall, Mowgli dipped back to bedroom, but then thought, no, we need to stand tall here. We can't let them have the top floor, and he went in and got himself a freebie onto the Lion. Perfectly played from Wolves. Excellent round, 2nd on the board, and let's see if they can build some momentum.
I was going to say, do they stick with the IQ here? For w7m to change away from that, thinking back to their execute earlier, Tim, the excellent Ossa plant attempt they had inside of Snowmobile, which then failed, and the remaining 2 players then rotated up towards Wine and got a plant down there and won the round instead. But one thing I was going to say about the IQ is you can choose not to bring it if you don't feel you want to do a full map clear. If you're going direct to site, do you feel like you need an IQ? Probably not. If you're running in through a breach, the last thing you want to do is turn your back to the enemy to shoot out a Valkyrie camera, but they're still going to show that respect once again. Bring along the IQ to deal with those Valk cams where they may be found.
Attacking then on to Wine this time. W7M still having to start top down. It has pretty much very quickly become the standard for a basement defence here on Chalet. Has been holding on to that top floor and just trying to burn as much time as possible. Very similar in essence to the sort of defence that you would see on Clubhouse, for example. Church and Arsenal, a site that you might be more familiar with. We had a period of time where teams tried to turtle up down in the basement here and just hold attackers at bay for as long as possible, but it just wasn't working. So we've seen this adaptation. Now then, you mentioned the W7M rush that we saw previously. They're going to be looking to get this wall open. It looks like it's going to be done for free, but they are paying due attention, due diligence. They're going to send the nade in as well to clear out the mute jammer, prevent anybody from playing in behind there as well and trying to impact trick or anything else. So that is the main breach open. It looks from GDN's movement like he's going to be heading over to the other side, maybe try and get the rear side as well. That's what you're looking for here on this site for my money. Often trying to get those defenders spinning in both directions, not knowing where the push is coming from.
He had no idea he was
Mowgli had no idea where that shot was coming from.
Casey had no idea where the shot was going to either. Not quite into the cranium of Mowgli. That wasn't on his agenda. But I was going to make a point and I've completely forgotten what the hell it was. It was something about the execute there. Oh, that's it. Just how clean and simple it was. Flashing through the hole, nothing there to be able to deal with it in terms of like an ADS or magnets, bit of a trade on top floor, back and forth as Rise hits a 2K. But the first nade went in, no response. Okay, cool. In comes the frag grenade, mute jammer gone, exothermic goes off, bish bash bosh, wall is open. No frills, no fancy, no complicated things about it. Two players got that done between them. Absolutely beautiful.
Rise is really stepping up for his team here, just holding Herds at bay for another 10 seconds. Straight back up the stairs to challenge. I love this from Rise. He might just catch him on the wraparound if he's quick here. Might be able to just move in and find that kill onto Herds. He's waiting for his moment. I think he's just waiting for a bit of information, but Herds is equally alive and alert here. He's going to be sending the drone in. He's going to find Herds down there, as does a drone from Volps, and so they have got him pinpointed.
Has just chewed through a couple of drones for free there, really. Neither attempting to get away.
Only 3 left.
Which, yeah, does really whittle W7M down to just having 2 out on the field now. 1 will be dead in someone's back pocket, actually, now I think about it. So just 2 that are potentially out, and they can't be controlled because all the live players have got dead drones in their back pocket. So they were probably set up by KZ or by JV. They do, of course, have some of the sound cams to help out about around as well. But it's about making this play work. Another smoke coming through. I think that might have caught onto the bomb chassis. That is so unfortunate. Otherwise, it blocks off the single rotation they've got. But they've got to try and make this plan happen here. Walls backing away at least for a couple of seconds. GDM finding one more. Pushing in for the second. But it's going to be Walls getting the closeout, Tim. That's the 7 and 3. And that sees them starting to now wrap things up a bit more and make that game against OXG less pressurized.
It certainly does. As we said, that's the next break point for them. That leaves them now only requiring 4 rounds against OXG. 3 rounds against OXG in the next match to get themselves into the playoffs. So it is a better step forward. Another 2 rounds required, though. They need to get themselves onto 5 if they want to improve that situation further. But right now, Des, you wouldn't bet against them. They've found a bit of mojo. They've found a bit of momentum. And they're really starting to lean in to these W7M attacks now. Rise particularly important in that last round too. Big kills up on the top floor. The trade onto KZ, gets himself a second and dips down into dining. Wastes a lot of time, and it was really well played from him.
It was incredible stuff, and it's good for Wolves to have this bounce back on the defensive side. W7M slowed down a little bit here, really. Given the pace we've seen them be against Gaimin Gladiators, the pace they employed to win a number of the attacking rounds, I do want to see a little bit more coming out of them here. And I'm not quite sure exactly what the perfect answer is. They've gone off roaming around the map, constantly trying to deal with members of Wolves and being sucked into this 1-for-1 trading against members of Wolves that they don't really care to use. Things like the Jaeger, the Melusi, even the Valkyrie to some degree, once the C4 has been used, is exactly the same.
Here we go then, round number 9 underway. Into the action phase we go. W7M, they aren't too worried really about what's going on, I wouldn't have thought. They were looking, I would think, at this point to maintain that unbeaten run, but it would be a nice to have rather than a requirement. They're not going to be too worried if it doesn't happen, but they need to think about their attacks going forward. Obviously they're going to, have to rely on them in the best of 3s. They can't win everything on defense, and it's certainly been a bit of a struggle against Gaimin Gladiators. We're seeing it here again against Wolves, and so a better performance over the next couple of rounds could be big for them. Now that KZ going to be sending in that nade, but as you say, doesn't find it cleanly, and Mowgli, he can live to fight longer in this library box.
He's got ADSs inside of there as well, and he drops away there once the ADS has been burnt out, afraid of a second nade coming singing through that simply didn't exist. Volps starts off. Rise the first to fall here on the Jaeger. Is it the start of a comeback? Maybe not, says Shinka, as he brings down KZ.
Managing to find something and just break the momentum that was being built by w7m there, Mowgli. He's going to be holding on under this hatch. He's got a bit of information. Will the C4 connect? No, it's just going to be a little bit far away. I think he's waiting for Volps to move back. The call doesn't come though, and that's going to be Volps able to move away on the knock, and the push can potentially continue. JV finds P4, but there's an immediate trade from Mowgli. Bibu once again stepping up, just really leading from the front here for Wolves. Manages to shut down Volps. It's a 3 versus 2 at the halfway mark, Des. This has been a bloodbath in the early round.
It has, and you hope maybe now things will slow down a little bit as well. There's still a minute and 20 to play here, but Nades comes singing on down library stairs. Right idea from Wolves as they dip away. A drone's going to pursue him on down the stairs because, again, with this much time left in the round, you ain't got to panic. They've got 3 flashes they can burn their way through. They find one onto Shinka. Mowgli and Bibu left all the ones that stand between them. Bibu finds one. GDN coming in for the second as well, but he's got a 1v2 to win here. Sees a man at range and can't quite find him. Down to literally 1 bullet here. Mowgli and Bibu can hold this one off, but it's 1 shot coming through. Comes down to 2 low HP members on either side of the team to bring out this 1v1.
GDN definitely thinking about the potential of putting this diffuser down right now. Flashbang goes out. He thinks he can do it under the cover, but I don't think he can. Mowgli with the headshot gets another round for Wolves, and they've woken up, Des. The Wolves are starting to howl, and they are on the prowl.
Showing their fangs, Tim. You can tie a few of these together very, very easily. Donning the pelts, doing some work. That's 4 rounds. What does that now do for our score?
Nothing different. It leaves them needing 3 rounds against OXG. It's the next one. It's when they hit 5. That's then the big difference for them. Once they hit 5, they only need 2 rounds against OXG. So right now, I'm sure that OXG are watching this one. It's going to be
sweaty.
Nervous times for them, because the thing is, OXG could actually win in regulation. They could win 7-3, and it's still not be enough for them.
All Wolves have got to do is get us to overtime, or of course a regulation win is still on the cards, but 3 rounds in a row, not quite sure I believe that's going to be a thing just yet. Either way, let's see how round 10 goes. Kitchen and dining, where we set up for this defense, which means, as always, you will see a lot of presence up on the top floor from the Wolves. We've spoken about, I've done it again, we keep on speaking about the teams.
We're going to have to get a counter.
I hate it so much. Please don't. We're going to see them holding up on that top floor, no doubt. You've got much more info being stacked up here as well, with the Maestro also coming along for the party. Lots of impacts on side, of course, not to deny anything away, but more for their rotates. Despite having, of course, a couple of potential rotate creators on the team, you've got the Bayless in the back pocket of the Alibi and of the Maestro.
Casey on the thinker, straight up to the building line once again. W7M, for me, have been struggling a little bit to get inside of the building, as you know, to be established inside of there, to be happy to gain any real map control. They got control over Library last time and had to fight into sight, which was a struggle for them. But prior to that, Wolves have done a pretty good job in a number of these rounds, particularly the basement defence I'm thinking of how they kept hold of top floor. So they're going to be looking now to just build on that, keep that confidence rolling. You know, they're happy to try and take these fights at the building line. As you can see, bullets raining out of that window. Herds, they know that he's going to be there, and I feel like Wolves have figured W7 out a little bit over the last couple of rounds.
The last couple, probably the last 4, to be honest, given how far down they were. But yep, really bouncing their way back into the game and racking up the points. Volts now looking out towards this balcony side to try and put some pressure inside of Office itself. A couple of players working out towards Library, so they know that there's a top floor take to be done first and foremost. And think about the kind of pace that we commended W7M for earlier in their game against Gaimin Gladiators. Within probably a minute and 15, they got control of the vast majority of the top floor. We've gone past that point, and some of them are still outside the building right now, Tim.
Mowgli playing that position in Office once again that we saw previously. Different operator this time. He was on the Aruni last time. Just going to have a little spray down, but likely to be forced back as this wall will be open. Sees his man, though. Gets the opener onto JV. That is big for the EU side. And you can just see there, Mowgli dipping away. He knows he doesn't need to overstay his welcome, but in comes Herds. Des. 1, 2. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang, though, for P4 as he manages to find the trade onto the man and leave us in a 3v3. 1 minute 10 left to go, and still there is a contest over this top floor.
We always get to this 3v3 point and both teams sort of slow down. It's an initial flurry and then a slow piece coming through. Volps stepping across with the decoy. Now, of course, time's out, but it means they have information that someone was sat towards bathroom rotate. They've moved away at this point, all 3 of them stacked up towards Solar.
Going to be an aid coming out from Volps here. He's just trying to aid the push across the top floor, but with 45 seconds left to go, w7m might have just burnt too much time doing this. KZ knows that they're stuck in the corner of bathroom. He goes in, but he can't find the fight. Bibu manages to get the kill. GDN with the refrag, but it doesn't matter as P4 finds him. It's just trade for trade for trade, and this time w7m are not coming out on top of them as they have done previously. Volps is surely going to be closed down in the master bedroom here. It's just waiting for somebody to tuck him in, say goodnight, and put him to sleep with 17 seconds left to go. He's searching, he's seeking, he can't find anybody inside a site. He's going to go and collect that diffuser, so at least he has the option. But with 10 seconds, he's going to struggle to even make it in there, let alone find himself a fight. He's going to have to just try and throw this case down on the floor. He takes out the cam in behind the bomb chassis, and indeed he will try to stick this, but here come the Wolves circling. He knew it, and he came off, and that is Wolves finding their 5th round and taking themselves one step closer to Friday's quarterfinals.
Playing it with real discipline there at the end as well. Wolves, one player a mile away down towards DAMWON Gaming, the other down West Main, and there's just no way Volps can chase either one down in time.
Now, the question is, can they now do what nobody else has been able to do? What does this do to our opinions of Wolves if they're the team that can get the win against w7m?
Well, after yesterday's 7-3, it definitely starts to show the Wolves can wake up. For a time, though, it looked dire. It looked like w7m were going to landslide this game. They were up 5-0, Tim. And Wolves have bounced their way back step by step, admittedly being on the defensive side, helping out a little bit. And probably in part thanks to that Nomad ban that we spoke about. They're being given a lot of freedom to move around the map as they please, where w7m aren't fighting over a bit of map and then air jobbing it off so you can't easily rotate back through it. Instead, they can't commit to having a player there 24/7, so Wolves can retake lost ground if they so desire. And you're seeing that coming through in spades here. The early round aggression we keep on speaking about. The mid-round 2v2 trades that keep on coming out as well. It's just whittling down the attackers, and I keep on saying it, defenders are very happy to lose things like their Valkyrie and their Jaeger if it means you're removing, say, a Finker and a Sledge from the other side, because you're taking away those nades, the Gon 6, the bigger guns. It's absolutely worth it for the defenders.
It's all about that utility, and Wolves have taken w7m's game the way that they were making it difficult for them out in the map, and they've just basically reversed it and done exactly the same. Shinka's going to take a chunk of damage at the beginning of the round there, so needs to be cautious. I think he just deployed a smoke canister as well, maybe feeling that there was going to be a push coming. That's unfortunate timing for Volps there. Probably takes the head off the Jaeger or Bibu there if he stays for a second longer, but unable to find him on the second peak. Herds is working the angle from downstairs. We've seen this a few times. You can open both floors up straight into sight from the basement.
I want to say it just got zapped by an ADS, you know. I didn't hear it, but I saw the kind of little like sign of it going off, and Bibu there taking a chunk from below. Don't know where it would have been soaked up by an ADS, but it was now a 1-for-1 trade, as I believe that was P4 looking to try and get out of a doorway, for example, and trading with KZ. Again, totally worth. The Alibi had already deployed the shield. She'd already done all she needed to and got a kill onto a Finker. Dream operator to take, because now those 2 frag grenades are also offline.
The way that Wolves have been able to consistently take the Finker out of the game has been fantastic for them. Volps manages to get Bibu, GDN onto Mowgli, but Shinka comes in with one of his own onto Herds, 2 versus 3, and again one of these mad flurries in the mid-round. It just shows how quick and aggressive the game has been. 3 versus 1 as w7m are seeking that 6th round. They want the opportunity to close this game out and to stay unbeaten. Volps, he finds the kill from behind the defensive utility, and that is going to close things out. The Brazilians now with the opportunity to go unbeaten in our group stages. One more round.
Not just unbeaten, Tim, but in regulation in every single game as well. No overtime wins required. Just plain and simple, straight 18 points that you've won by beating everyone without the requirement of overtime. No matter what happens after this round, Tim, we're going to get some very loud cheers from that other end of the venue, because either w7m win 7-5 or Wolves take us through to overtime, and in doing so, punch their ticket to the playoffs on Friday.
That's it, one way or another. You know that one of those teams is going to go absolutely mad when this one finishes, but there is at least 3 minutes left to go yet. We're going to be heading downstairs. It's going to be wine and stock. Last time it took a big effort from Rise up on the top floor. He was pushed, he was prodded, he was poked, but he would not move. He managed to get himself 2 kills before dropping away, and it was a big big play for Wolves. They're going to need the same sort of gargantuan effort here to keep w7m at bay, I think. We're going to have P4. He's been out in the map. He's been popping those goo mines about, and then he's going to get himself back into sight. But there's still plenty going on here. I think Bibu's going to position a mirror inside of Dining, I would guess. They've done this previously to try and hold on to that hatch a bit more. This is what I often talk about. If you're going to play the hatch open, I think it's the right thing to do. You can prevent the trench-sided plant, but you have to hold on to Dining if you're going to do that, and that's exactly what Bibu is looking to do.
Here we go then. Let's see if Wolves can hold on for just one more round and make this one really count, or if w7m take those 3 points. This time round, things are changing up a little bit. Volps is going across to playing on the Finker, where we've seen KZ almost exclusively playing that operator. Instead here, he's on the hard breach. So it screams to me, Tim, very execution heavy. 2 hard breaches on side. They've got the Thatcher on side. They've got the smokes of the gridlock. They want a little bit of flank lockdown as well, I think, because they haven't got that Nomad. But for me, the most important thing is most definitely those smokes.
KZ looking to get immediately aggressive in towards Connector there. It's actually forced Shinka back deeper into sight as well. But still a number of w7m stacking up towards the rear, and this could be that dreaded split push where they just try to put pressure from both sides. It was Herds previously against Gaimin Gladiators, who was able to stroll on in and get himself a double and really open things up for them. But it looks like Wolves might just be ready for that. They've got the mirror on the rear side, and the EMP grenade goes out to try and deal with any utility protecting that, whilst KZ from the main breach manages to get Shinka. Herds takes down Bibu. w7m start rolling, but P4 with a very important kill there just to try and slow down the onslaught. But here comes KZ. He's just walking into sight. He's using the mirror window, and he knows that there's one inside of blue. It's going to be hard left as he goes in there, but it looks like they've just escaped. He finds Legion. It is too easy as he just walks through.
Mowgli found those 2 big kills that still keep the dream alive for Wolves, mind you. JV, Volps, opposite ends of the map right now, looking to push their way through. The mirror window now returned to possession of the defenders, should be helping them out a little bit. That sound cue should be enough to let them know that JV is circling around. You still got one playing on the upstairs by the looks of it as well for the side of Wolves here, just waiting to see what the next move from w7m is. Out comes one of those smokes from JV, as mentioned. Track's still in the back pocket, but is pushing through to Connector. The 2 of them now rejoining up, connecting ironically, and starting to go in for the plan. But do they know about this one going down? I'm not sure they do. They've got to find a response. One coming down main stairs, one coming in through blue, and it's Mowgli who will take the first challenge.
It feels like they've got such a good handle on where these last players are coming from. Rise does try to get down the main stairs, but they push at the same time. It's Rise, it's Mowgli. He's got that final kill. Isn't it, in terms of, you know, just that mentality of going in, knowing that you're the ones. Let's not forget, you know, these teams could come back together later in the tournament. Des, imagine a semi-final coming in against w7m, and it's teams that w7m have just rolled over versus coming in against Wolves, who've pushed them all the way and taken points away from them, who've beaten them, coming in against the only team to have got that W from you. It could have a big impact later in the tournament.
Oh, it absolutely could, because now it shows that gods can bleed. It's like at the end of the movie 300. They took the spear, it cuts the cheek of the god. Well, not god, but more the emperor. What were they at the time? You remember the end of the film, don't you?
I do, yeah.
What are they? There's something of Persia. What was it?
I think that's...
King?
Yeah, I think you'd reply to it as like a god emperor. Somebody
probably,
who's...
Yeah. We'll call it a king, because it sounds more easy to say. Okay. Relatable. Make the king bleed either way by chucking the spear. That's exactly what Wolves have just done to w7m. A small tarnish on what would have otherwise been a perfect record. Here in overtime, w7m on the attack once again. So the momentum continues here for Wolves, where they keep on doing the same thing they've done for the entirety of that second half.
w7m with it fresh in the mind, the fact that they've struggled to close it out as well. It's, you know, like you say, the wars continue really for them, and that was a tough round to take, I'm sure. 2v2 at the end with Diffuser down on the ground. You know, it's never an easy one to lose those, but how many times have Wolves this season been able to rely on Mowgli? And let's not forget, you know, you can't discount Rise in that situation as well. It was beautiful team play, the way they pushed and coordinated together to make Volps' life as difficult as possible. Now then, Mowgli, he's right up there at the point of ingress, but he's going to have to dip away as those flashbangs come in. Rise is going to be taken out by Volps, and w7m Looks like they might be a bit angry here, Des.
Maybe just slightly. Somewhat scorned, but never punished. 2 nade kills coming through in the round, and Herds has got one more flying in towards Library there. Won't quite catch the man that is tucked in. The question is, do they know that he's still there? It looks like they do. That is a filthy shot, KC. No way can you land that. P4 goes down. 1 left standing. W7M come back with a vengeance in overtime here, and Shinka is all that stands between them and a flawless round.
Certainly looking like it might happen, but no, Shinka steps out, gets himself one onto JV, and that leaves him in a 1v4. You know he's going to fight to the very last here. He's trying to keep hold of top floor. It is an attack onto Dining here. There should be an opportunity for W7M to get this diffuser down. What a flick! 180. Shinka sits Herds down, 1v3, but W7M, they've got their eyes on the prize there. They're going to go in and get that diffuser down. He's just too late to have an impact on whether it is planted or not, and now he's working against the clock. He's working against bullets. KZ shuts him down, and that's going to be W7M taking the first overtime round. And I often wondered, Des, what happens if you whack a hornet's nest with a stick? And I think we might have just seen.
You also just found out exactly what Finker can do. Hold down left mouse button, just walk forwards, W, swing the mouse, find the Elder Holder. It's just ridiculous, but okay, fair enough. W7M get the round on the board. One more, and they take this 8-6. It's still going to be an undefeated win. It's a line, no doubt, that we'll use plenty, or undefeated streak, sorry. It's a line we will use a lot on Friday. But again, it's that small blemish on the record where Wolves were cheeky enough to take away at least 1 point for them. And let's not count Wolves out of this just yet. They can still bounce back here and make it go all the way to 15.
It's the crack, isn't it? It's the crack that starts to show that you think, right, this team has a weakness. This team can be beaten. It can have things taken away from it. And honestly, I think everybody else in the tournament probably needed that to a degree. You know, just to know that W7M are not completely invulnerable to being stretched, to being beaten, to having things taken from them. We're going to have W7M defending Bar and Gaming. Could be our final round on Chalet. They did get the last round, so it leaves them 7-6. It is a best of 3 rounds in overtime, so they only need to win 2 of them. So this would, of course, be the second. It looks like they're going to be stacking up towards that Officer Master side. Last time around, we saw KZ playing in the library corridor, making a nuisance of himself. But look at this aggression. Herds is there. He's ready for that challenge as soon as they come up the stairs.
Spoke a lot about the Veroni lately as well in terms of, well, the difference in that versus playing with the Mark 14. Because of the extra juice that Finker gives these days, it makes it 3 or 4 shots often with the Mark 14 rather than the 2 or 3 that it used to be. So Veroni's really making a comeback, and to be fair, I kind of moved away from the Veroni when we saw the ammo in the clip go down as well, and I thought, yeah, no way am I playing that anymore. It's actually really nippy now. It feels arguably better than it did before. It's unbelievable. So for Herds to be on that, no surprises at all. We'll see what damage he can do with it. As P4 already straight on the move up, finds Volts, who's sat in West Main, twiddling his thumbs, and, well, you can see the outcome.
Great from that Ryzen Shinka on the drones, just ahead of P4 giving, and you can see it at his feet there. Look at the aggression coming in from Mowgli because he knows that he can. That is an absolutely beautiful example of how droning should work on entry. Mowgli gets another. This is the Mowgli that we know from EUL. He's just finding kill after kill. Bibu leaves them now in a 4v1. We're not even at the halfway mark.
All the way to 15, Tim. It feels like that's exactly where we're headed. Shinka's in, getting the plant down, and Herds is left alone. I bigged up this Roni, but I don't think he can do it all with one gun. Hits a nice headshot onto Mowgli. One more on the front door, but not going to find his man as a grenade comes tumbling round. He's got about 25 seconds to make this one work. Otherwise, it's far too late, and he will not be able to stick that diffuser.
Herds, as you say, needs to be very careful about how he takes these fights, given that he's got such a small mag capacity. He can't go through 2 or 3 gunfights without a reload. That much is for sure. He's got 10 in the chamber at the minute. Needs to be aware of that and take these one at a time. That's the first, and there's the reload. That leaves him now in a 1v2, but he's got about 6 seconds to make it happen. Dashes into Bibu, who is just waiting, arms open, ready to take him down. Wolves, they level things up, and Des, we're going all the way to 15.
Been waiting all week to hear you say that one, Tim. I know you've been trying to hide it away, but this game more than deserves it. W7M flicking onto that attack for the last time, and Wolves, they're the ones on the defense. Kitchen and Dining going to be where the final showdown takes place. And I said it before we got started in the game. These are the top 2 teams from their respective region. Rank 1 from EU, rank 1 from the Brasileiro, from LATAM, coming out of Copa. Well, not really quite out of LATAM, because arguably FaZe took that title in the Copa Elite 6. But you look at the stage play, in a best-of-1 format, it stacks up and the story sounds cool, so bear with me and go for it. This should the kind of matchup that, in my opinion, would make a fantastic semi-final. Arguably even a grand, because for me, it was w7m versus Astralis. Astralis have gone home. I want to know, and I'm still looking for, who's going to be that challenger to the w7m name.
Well, this is, you know, we've got to remember, obviously there's been such a focus on Wolves and getting through to the playoffs and everything else, that you almost overlook how exciting and entertaining this game has been. We've saved one of the very best matchups to the very end of the group stages. This has been phenomenal. And like you say, going through to those knockout stages now, I would love to see these two go up against each other later on in the tournament. What an amazing matchup. If they could maintain this sort of pace, this sort of level throughout. Bibu, look at him. It's round 15 and he's looking for peaks.
That feels like a real classic ranked spawn peak as well. As someone comes running up the snow ramp on the outside, you get a wonderful headshot angle, and it's pew pew pew, down goes a player or two, hopefully. Call coming in from JV92, phoning home here and hoping to find a way to get through to the end of this round with the 2 points in his team's back pocket. Starting to hope here that someone's also going to swing him on the south side, coming out the bottom of Piano. There are 2 players lurking around here. It's Mowgli, and I believe it was Rise next to him as well on the Thorn. 2 of them for now just holding firm, not forgetting again, we are on Kitchen and Dining, but this hole on the top floor needs to be cracked by w7m first.
It certainly does. Mowgli has been very difficult for them to move from office. They haven't had too much joy. He's got kills every time he's been in there so far, so that for me, keep an eye on it at home. That's one of the key areas of this fight, is how do they deal with Mowgli in office. They'll quite often go and open the wall up and consider that enough, hope that that's enough to force him back out, but it rarely is. He's got Rise supporting him as well. P4 up there. Mowgli out of the window, I just called it. So important in and around that area, taking down KZ. Big entry for Wolves, advantage EU.
Calm down, Tim. It's just the entry.
In this game.
Whew. That's a bit of a throat there, Tim. I was just getting choked up, a bit emotional. EU getting the entry in such a critical round.
You're doing something good.
Oh, they've got the second one, Tim. I can't hold it together anymore. No, we'll see how they do, seriously. I'm not actually that bad. I just had something in my throat. Here we go on JV stepping through. Sees the backside, shoot the booty, but can't quite find the man. Rise lives for at least another day. What?
I give up. Right. I give up. 5 versus 3. We stand with 1 minute left to go. JV's working across this top floor. He's trying to find kills, trying to find anything at this point in time, but there's just nothing to be gained. Rise, he is low health, but still hanging on to this top floor. Him and Mowgli are not giving it up. Mowgli runs face to face into JV, but able to take down the Dokkaebi, and Mowgli is just absolutely phenomenal this game. GD shuts him down. Leaves us now in a 4v2. 40 seconds left to go. GDN needs to push himself into Piano here. Needs to take the ground that he's just gained by getting that kill. But Rise, he could spoil this party. He knows they're still pushing. He's going nowhere until GDN shuts him down.
I thought for a second there he'd die out to the Razor Bloom at the end, but no, holds on for now. I was going to say, Tim, the problem is they're in this 2v4, but they haven't got top floor control. They've got to work their way across the top and then down from there as we get to this last 15 seconds. You've got Bibu ratting it out at the bottom of these solar stairs. They find one, swings for the second, can't quite find the man, but Volts has got 7 seconds to go. It looks to be like Wolves will be the first team to hand w7m their first defeat here at the Berlin Major as they hit the closing shot. They take the 2 points and guarantee that spot at playoffs.
The cheers go up from Wolves as they celebrate not just a win against w7m, but their confirmation in the playoffs on Friday and maybe beyond. Who knows? This is a team that